Dayar Saguru Devashis Karuna Kori Vaishnava Satura Dayar Saguru Devashis Abudija Pada Chaya Sadhaya আমি তোমার চরণ ধরি আমি তোমার চরণ ধরি একবার আমায় দয়া করো হে দয়া করো হে চরণ ধরে মিনতি করি একবার আমায় দয়া করো হে চরণ ধরে মিনতি করি একবার আমায় দয়া করো হে দিয়া পদ ছায়া শোভা
Saraswati Thakur ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Bhagya ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Sri Vasadi Shri Gaur Bhakta Brinda ki jai, Go Gopi Govardhan Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Kalindi Jamuna ji ki jai, Srimati Tulsi Maharani ki jai, Sri Govinda Kunda ki jai, Sri Koladweep Navadweep Dham ki jai, Sri Hapaniya Dham ki jai, Sri Baman Paradam ki jai, Brajamandal Sri Brindavan Dham ki jai, Sri Purushottama Ketta Dham ki jai, Balaram Subhadra Jagannath ki jai, Bhakti Vigna Vinasana Shri Narasimha Deva ki jai, Bhakta Pravaha Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavat Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Akadamataraj Shri Chaitanya Mat ki jai, Navadip Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai, London Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai, Tvadiya Shaka Mat ki jai, Tvadiya Vaishnava Brinda ki jai, Samadvaita Vaishnava Mandali ki jai, Kol Kartel ki jai, Shri Harinama Sankirtan ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. So today is the Tirubhav, disappearance day of our Divine Master on Vishnupad Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj, the favorite and exemplary disciple of Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. Srila Govinda Maharaj trained by Srila Guru Maharaj for over 40 years to take on the role of Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat after Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And we need to say something about his glories, although his glories are all self-effulgent, and we feel ourselves unqualified to speak about such a Vaishnava. But it is our duty to do that, so we shall try. And we first met Srila Govinda Maharaj when we came to the lotus feet of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and around in 1982. Some a little earlier, some a little later. But that time Srila Govinda Maharaj was white clad, and was like the manager of the temple of Chaitanya Saraswat Math. And he would say, my duty is that no trouble will go up the stairs. As Guru Maharaj living in his zone, Srila Govinda Maharaj said, Guru Maharaj living in his zone, upstairs, and we are living downstairs, and my duty to make sure no trouble will go upstairs to Guru Maharaj. So, and we saw that Srila Gurudev's relationship with Guru Maharaj, although it was a relationship of Guru-disciple, it was more than just Guru-disciple. Srila Guru Maharaj relied on Srila Gurudev almost for everything, and wouldn't make any important decision, unless Srila Govinda Maharaj was present there to consult with. And Gurudev himself, he was born in a very small village in Navadvip, Goramandala, within Goramandala. That village is called Bamanpara, which in ancient times was known as Brahmanpur, because all of the people who lived there were Brahmins. And it's very close, maybe about 6 miles from Hapania, where Srila Sridhar Maharaj appeared. So, but as a child, of course, they didn't know each other, or at least ostensibly. So, although both of their families both worshipped at the temple of Bururaj, the ancient temple of Lord Shiva, which is situated about halfway between the two places. So, Srila Gurudev's father's name was Nitaipad, and his mother's name was Tarangini Devi. And they were both great Vaishnavas. Nitaipad was a Kulu Guru, that means family guru in that local area, and a very renowned Kirtaniya. So Srila Govinda Maharaj said his father would be invited to go from different places, different temples, to go for kirtan. They had a kirtan group, and his father would also read Bhagavat there, and like that. So Srila Gurudev was the oldest son. His younger brother was Dhananjaya Prabhu. But they, grew up there. When Srila Govinda Maharaj, he said that I didn't like to go to school. He said, so most days when I was meant to go to school, I'd go on the way there, I'd hide in a tree and not go to the school. And if I did have to go to the school, my favorite plan was to take my father with me, and then he would just do bhajan with all the students, and they would hear Hari Katha from him all day, and we wouldn't have to do any schoolwork. So anyway, Srila Gurudev's father, Nitaipad, there's some story about the birth of Srila Govinda Maharaj, that he tells us that when they would go to the temple of Bururaj, which is a very rustic kind of temple. It's not like any big, not even stone. It's made of it's like a shack. Really, if you've been there, it's just a wooden hut with a thatched roof, and the deity of Bururaj. Bururaj means the ancient king, but it's Lord Shiva, and in the deity of Lord Shiva, which is the Shiva Lingam, is actually in the ground there. So you go into the temple, and then the deity is in the ground. inside, like a hole there. So anyway, he said, my mother prayed to Lord Shiva there for a son, and she promised Lord Shiva if she excuse me, if he would give her a son, that son would be a sannyasi. Gurudev said, I think she had a different idea as to what that meant. In Bengal, it is a common thing that young Brahmin boys, they take sannyas for a day. So they take sannyas, they get the danda, and they shave their head, everything. They go through the ceremony, and they're a sannyasi for a day. And then after that day, they go back to their life again, normal life. So he said, I think that was her idea, that she would say, yes, my son will be a sannyasi, and that would suffice. But said, Lord Shiva perhaps had a different idea. So, anyhow, when the day came that Srila Govinda Maharaj was born, in that village, as in many places in India still today, they have a particular place where the woman would give birth, and only ladies are allowed to go there. Men aren't allowed in there. And that was the case there. So then, then he's waiting for his wife to give birth, Nitayapad, and then, hears the baby crying, someone comes out, it's a boy, then immediately he ran to the temple of Bururaj. And when he came to the temple, there was nobody there. It was completely deserted. Not even the priest or anyone was there. The doors of the temple were closed. So anyway, he bowed down to Bururaj and said, my son has been born. You please give your blessing, whatever, made some prayer. And then from the sky, a voice came. Oh, he is my own son, and I will give my protection to him. So you please tell the women to remove the lamp black from his forehead. So then he heard that divine voice, presumably of Bururaj, and he returned to the village, Bamanpar, and he met one of the ladies there that was attending to his wife and said, you please remove the lamp black from the boy's head. And she said, how do you know that he has lamp black on his head? He said, Bururaj told me. Because they give that, it's kind of protection against the evil eye, or, there's a custom to deter any inauspicious glance or anything like that. So. And she was surprised. Oh, how did you know that we'd given the lamp black? And he said, Bururaj told me. And he said, remove the lamp black because he is my son and I will give my protection to him. So this way, a boy was born, and afterwards, Srila Gurudev said, so many auspicious things happen in my life because of Lord Shiva. And he said, my mother was taking me from one place to the other by herself one day, carrying me in her arms. That time in the Bengal jungle, there were still tigers roaming around there, Bengal tigers. So she just happened to come in front of a tiger. Suddenly there was a tiger there. And so she showed the baby to the tiger and said, this is Lord Shiva's son, what will you do? Mm. And the tiger bowed his head to the baby and went away. So some miraculous things happen in his life. And from his childhood, he was raised as a Vaishnava. In fact, Srila Gurudev's family, they are coming in the line of Nityananda Prabhu. Gurudev didn't like to speak about that very much, because we are not propounders of bloodline Goswamis or anything like that. But just incidentally, his lineage is in the line of Nityananda Prabhu. He is a descendant of Birachandra, the son of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And we're told that Lord Nityananda, that Birachandra, when he came to Bamanpara, he changed their name, their family name, whatever it was before. He changed their name to Dasadikari, and like that, there is some tradition from there, and the deities, the family deities of Srila Govinda Maharaj's family, they are now in our temple in Bamanpara. They were given to his ancestors personally by Birachandra Prabhu. Radha Gopinath, their name. Anyhow, so then, as I mentioned before, Srila Gurudev's father was a Kulu Guru, that means local guru, had many disciples, and also some, religious, made their living from a religious duty. But when Srila Govinda Maharaj was 14 years old, his father passed away. And he told us that, and then they'd moved actually. His father had bought a house nearby, outside of Bamanpur. They moved there. When his father died, they had to move back to Bamanpara, and they lived with his uncle and his family. And his uncle was, he said, he was a very famous stick fighter. It's a Bengali martial art where they fight with sticks. And his father was his uncle was very famous for that. And he said, he said he was like a real man's man. He said, I'd never seen him cry in my life. And he said, but one day he'd had a phone call, and after the phone call, he was sitting on the veranda and he was crying, like sobbing. And I came up to him and I said, Uncle, why are you crying? What's wrong? Then he said, oh, I just had a phone call. Some people inviting your father to come to do kirtan and, some Bhagavad Path and everything. And they didn't know that he passed away. And he said, and I couldn't say, like something stopped me. And they're going to call back in about an hour's time, but I don't think there's no one who can sing those songs now, and that he sings. So then Srila Govinda Maharaj said, I can sing those songs. And he said, what do you mean? You've never been taught those songs, because they're like Madhura Rasa songs, Vaishnava songs, Chandi Das and Vidyapati and so on. They're very high songs, and his father considered that he wasn't qualified as a young boy to hear those songs about the Madhura Rasa. And he said, so how do you know those songs? And Gurudev said, well, wherever my father was going to perform, I used to like sneak behind and like hide in the nearby rice paddy and listen to the songs. And he said, and my brain was very good, so I could memorize all the songs, all the tunes, everything, Then his uncle said, okay, then sing this song by Narottam Thakur. He'd tell the song, and Gurudev would then sang that song, and he's like amazed. Oh, you do know that song. What about this song? And like every song that he threw at him, he knew all of it. And he said, my father had some students, and they would learn from him. And he said, I would just pretend to be reading a book. I'd be sitting on a tree, but really I'm listening to what my father's teaching them. He said, so I knew all those things. I knew how to play mridanga. I knew how to do all these things. So then he said, when they call back, you can tell them. And he told him that Nitai Pad, he's no longer with us, but his son will do that. So then Srila Govinda Maharaj began become the new head of that kirtan troupe, if you like, and they would go various places. So, but now he was also the oldest, so now the responsibility came to him to look after the family, his mother, his brother, and so on. Then so then he had to find a job at 14 years old, and that job was working for a doctor, local doctors. At that time in Bengal, there was a great scarcity of doctors and nurses, apparently. So the unwritten law was, if you studied under a doctor after 5 years, you would be considered yourself as a doctor. So Srila Gurudev was like apprentice to the doctor. He said they had 2 surgeries. They were about 2 kilometers apart from each other, and he said in the morning I would get help to get them prepared and everything, and when the doctor would come and start treating the patients, he said then I would take some leisure and I would meet with my friends and we'd go and play football. So he said we'd go and play football, and this was a nearby town called Nandangat. And he said in Nandangat there was a landowner, a zamindar, who had a big house there. And he said, and I would go there with my friends. And he said that although the zamindar means landowner, he said he was something of a dacoit. That means, like something, had some kind of organized crime going on there, in a small way, as you find in many places there like that. So he had this big house, he said, but he liked me, and his friends also, they liked me. Srila Govinda Maharaj said he would go there, and he said sometimes I'm talking with them, joking with them, sometimes I'm chastising them. Oh, you're a dacoit, and and he said and he would like my chastisement, he would find it amusing. And he said, so he had a very big library in that house, and he said, so in the evening I would go there with my friends and we would have some food. I mean, some aloo dum or some, chana masala or something. They would eat together, and he said, and I would read novels there. He said, so many novels. I would read these novels, and often I would just fall asleep there and sleep the night there, and they were okay with that. They were happy with that. So, although he may have been a dacoit, he had some affinity for sadhus. So Gurudev said he's always inviting sadhus to their place for some pravachan. Then and he said mainly they're just wandering sadhus and so, but this one day this group came there, a group of sadhus, and he said that they were more different. Their presentation, everything was different, and he said I was very attracted to them and what they were saying, Then he said, and so they were due to be there for a week, and he said there was one particular brahmachari that was there that was very effulgent, and his name was Jayadvaita, and he said when he was speaking, I thought, my feeling was, oh, he's like Srinivasacharya speaking in the assembly of Maharaj Birambir. He said, because I knew these things from my childhood, I knew these stories. So Maharaj, if you don't know, Maharaj Birambir was a dacoit king that used to rob travelers with the use of some astrologers who would tell, oh, this party are coming, they've got jewels and everything, and they stole when Srinivas and Narottam and Shamananda were taking the books of the Goswamis from Vrindavan to Navadvip, they stole those books because the astrologer said, oh, this party's coming, and they've got chests full of like invaluable gems. So Maharaj Birambir, he stole those books, and Srinivas came to his court to try and find them. Anyway, he's preaching there, and Gurudev said, this brahmachari's preaching, it reminded me of Srinivasacharya in the court of Maharaj Birambir. He said, so I was kind of captivated by them. And he said, but I noticed that they didn't have a good mridanga player with them. He said, so one day I came there, they were singing Gurvastakam, Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinam. He said, then I asked them, can I join with you and played the mridanga? They gave him the mridanga, and they were like, oh, very impressed. And he said, so then then they're washing my brain, he said, brainwashing me. They're telling this world is nothing, your mother is nothing, your father is nothing, only Krishna is real. Everything else is illusion. And he said, this way, he said, these sadhus talking nonsense, washing my brain. He said, but I couldn't deny what they were saying was true. He said, so I'm joking with them, and I said, so when you go from here, will you take me with you? And they said, yes, yes. They were very enthusiastic. Yes, yes, we'll take you. And he said, we will take you, but will you come? And Gurudev said, he said, I didn't really understand what I was saying, but I said, yes, I'll come. So he said, and then as soon as I said it, I regretted it. He said, because he said, I was a very naughty boy, but my only one good quality was that I never told a lie in my entire life. He said, so if I say, yes, I'll come, then I have to be a man of my word, you know. He said, but then I'm thinking, like, I have so many responsibilities. How can I get out of this now, you know? Like, I made this promise, but I don't want to go. I want to get out of that promise. He said, so I thought up a cunning plan. He said, that I'll say to them, because they're there for a few more nights, right? And I'll say to them, I'll modify my promise and say, yes, yes, I'll come with you, but you have to take me today. Tomorrow I won't be able to come, but today I can come. After the program, you can take me. And he said, and my thinking was, because they're there for a few more days, they'll say, oh, it won't be possible for us. And this way I'll get out of it, you know. So then he said, when they said, oh, so you're coming with us? And he said, yes, yes, but you have to take me today. And then that Jayadvaita brahmachari said, yes, okay, today. And then Gurudev was like, oh, okay. It must be the will of Providence. He said, so after the program finished, 2:00 in the morning, he said, we began walking from Nandangat to Navadvip. And we reached there early in the morning, or at least we reached the River Ganges early in the morning. Now there's Gauranga Setu, the bridge over. That wasn't there then. And it was early, so there were no boats or anything to go across. So we have to go swimming. We have to swim across. Said, so I just had the clothes that I had with me. So I took off my clothes and I tied them in a bundle and I swam across the river holding them, keep them dry. They got to the other side, they dressed, and then they're walking to Guru Maharaj's ashram. And he said, from my childhood, I'm reading about ashrams in Mahabharata, in Ramayana. He said, the descriptions of Vishishta Muni's ashram, the description of Vishvamitra Muni's ashram, and I'm thinking it's going to be something like that, you know. He said, and then when we were approaching it, all I could see is just a field with a thatched hut there. Guru Maharaj had just sort of moved there, and a few brahmacharis were staying with him in that place. When Guru Maharaj first moved there was a cobra lived in the roof. And Guru Maharaj would say, yes, he lives there, I live here, we don't bother each other, it's okay. So anyhow, then he said that brahmachari, Prabhu, could see the disappointment in my face as I saw the thatched hut in the field, and not what I'd expected at all. And he said, seeing that disappointed look on my face, he said to me, "Oh, it is small ashram, but there is a very big sadhu living here." So he said, then they went through the gate, and he said, then I saw Guru Maharaj. He's walking up and down on the veranda chanting japa. And he said then that Jayadvaita, he made full Dandavat Pranam to Guru Maharaj. And he was a disciple of Saraswati Thakur, also, that Jayadvaita, Brahmachari. And then he said, he told me also that I must make my Dandavat Pranam, which I did. And then Guru Maharaj said, "Oh, where did you find this boy?" And he said, "At our preaching program," and so on. And then Guru Maharaj said, "Will you stay?" And Srila Govinda Maharaj said, "I was a little annoyed by that. I've come all this way, you know, and now he's asking me, will I stay? You know." And I said, "Yes, I'll stay." Then Guru Maharaj asked him, "If you stay, will you be able to listen to what I say and not what your mind says?" And Gurudev said, "I was young and I thought that would be easy, and so I said, yes, I can do that." But it wasn't so easy. But anyway, Srila Gurudev stayed there. That was the day of Nrsimha Chaturdashi in 1947. I think maybe I didn't say, but Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj was born on December 17th, 1929. So now it's 1947, Nrsimha Chaturdashi, and Gurudev's there, and he said, I was very hungry. And I asked that Brahmachari, "So is there something to eat?" And he said, "No, this is a full fasting day. You have to fast a whole day." And Gurudev said, "I'd never fasted in my life before." He said, "We're a Vaishnava family, and from the day that I got my sacred thread, I followed the Ekadashi Brata, but we didn't fast. We would just eat, like potato sabji or something, And this way," he said, "then I never fasted before. So then, like about halfway through the day, he said, I was starving. And I said, 'Can I eat? Is there something I can eat?' And Brahmachari Prabhu said, 'You can eat some fruit.' And Gurudev said, 'Oh, up there's a very nice papaya growing in that tree. If I climb the tree, can I take that papaya?' And the Brahmachari said, 'Yes, but half of it you must offer to the deity and half you can take.' So he did that, and this way. But then, shortly afterwards, Srila Guru Maharaj, he had been looking for somebody who would take his, to be his successor after he passed away. He wanted someone who would be a Brahmin, who would be simple, who would be intelligent and trainable, faithful, all these things. So within a few weeks, few days, he thought this would be Srila Govinda Maharaj. And he said, and he would, when his godbrothers would come to visit, first of all, Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he asked him, "Examine this boy and tell me what you think." So he examined him and he told Srila Guru Maharaj, "Oh, he's a very special boy, you look after him." And then he asked his sister, Ramarani, she lived in the mott until she passed away. If you met her, she looked like Guru Maharaj would look if he was a woman. Like, you could see all the features of Guru Maharaj in her. She was very strict Brahmin lady. And and many, they tried to give her some girl from, the devotees to be her servant, but none of them could tolerate because she was so strict. And only person that she could tolerate was Ishanuga. And Ishanuga was her servant. And she told me, like many things, but said she would come in the morning and bring some flowers for her to do puja. And she said, one day when I came in, my sari touched the wall. And she said, oh, now you have to go and throw those flowers and take a full bath again and change your cloth. So this kind of strictness she had, But anyway, she was also a very sweet lady. But then she would come and she would stand outside Guru Maharaj's room. It's Ramarani, she would say, it's Rama. And but she would not enter into Guru Maharaj's room, although she's actually his disciple, but she's his sister, but she wouldn't enter into his room. She would always stand by the door. And then Gurudev said, what do you think about this boy? And she said, he's looking very nice. And he said, Guru Maharaj said, what do you think will be in the future? Will he be good or not? And she said, I do not know about the future, but now he is looking very good. So anyway, this way. Then after 1 month, then Gurudev started traveling with Guru Maharaj, sometime in Vrindavan, sometime in Puri, sometimes here, there. And after 1 month, he declared that if it is possible and he can train him, that this boy will be my successor. And Gurudev said, before that, everybody loved me. But as soon as they heard that Guru Maharaj wanted me to be his successor, then my fighting life began. And he said, even that brahmachari prabhu that was very, enthusiastic for me to join, now he's like my enemy. Because these devotees, they were thinking, because Srila Maharaj's chart said that he would die when he was in his 50s, like 56 years old or something. So they were thinking, well, we'll inherit this place. We'll inherit this property and we can be in charge there then, So when this was a real, fly in the ointment now, because that Gurudev said, Guru Maharaj said he's going to make this boy successor, Anyway, as it happened, in the end, they had to pay those brahmacharis to leave. but that's another story. But anyhow, so then Srila Gurudev said, this is the time when my fighting life began. And he said, so we went to Puri just before the Rath Yatra. And Guru Maharaj sent us to a nearby town for preaching. So we went there, and he said he'd asked the devotee that was looking after him, Srila Govinda Maharaj, to bring him in time for the Rath Yatra. And he said, but that man didn't want to bring him. So then Guru Maharaj chastised him. Oh, he is a new man, telling about Govinda Maharaj. He is a new man and he's not seen the Rath Yatra before. You must bring him for the Rath Yatra. And he came, but it was actually on the Rath Yatra day when they came there. And Guru Maharaj was very angry with that devotee. And he said, but the rule was that before you could get initiation, you had to live in the temple for 6 months before you could be considered for initiation. He said, but Guru Maharaj, he broke that rule and gave me initiation. And generally you get first initiation, Harinam, and then a year later, or 6 months or a year later, then second initiation, Gayatri Diksha. But he gave me both on that Rath Yatra day. And he said some of the other devotees protested because I hadn't been there for 6 months, he said. But Guru Maharaj didn't care for that. He initiated me on that day. So anyhow, then Guru Maharaj, of course, Gurudev stayed with Guru Maharaj after that for many years. And even when he married, he's just with Guru Maharaj all the time, you know, just sometime with the family and sometimes mostly coming to the temple. He had 3 daughters, and I met his wife as well. She was a nurse before, very wonderful lady, like kind of an angel type person. But I asked one of his daughters once, so what was it like, you know, like with Govinda Maharaj as your father? Like, how did that go? You know, what did you do in your house with what did Govinda Maharaj? He said he used to sing bhajan all the time, you know, that's right. And in the house, and I said, and what was his favorite song? And she said, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. That was his favorite. He was always sing that song. Anyway, so a little bit of insight there, but and he was like the manager of the temple there, and but we saw, you know, that he wanted to bring everybody to Guru Maharaj, and mostly because of him, we heard so much from Guru Maharaj, because Guru Maharaj would say, "Oh, I'm not feeling so well today, and I don't think I can speak." And Gurudev would say, "Oh, Maharaj, they've come from so far. They've come to hear from you. You just sit 5 minutes. You don't even have to say anything. Just sit for 5 minutes. They'll be satisfied." And so he said, okay, he would agree. Okay, then he'd come and sit, and 5 minutes, and then inevitably either someone would ask a question or he would say, "Anyone has a question?" And then he would start speaking, and then, you know, that 5 minutes became 2 hours. And Guru Maharaj would become like enlivened and animated. And he would say, "This is like massage for me, you know, to speaking Hari Katha. And I like this very much." So, you know, then, but Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj would always be encouraging him in this way. And finally, when we asked Srila Sridhar Maharaj to accept us as disciples, the Western devotees. He had obviously some Indian disciples, but only 2 Western disciples. One was Dibyashari, the mother of Vishaka, and the other one was Jai Gorendu. And John Edmondson, he's still around, my friend. And that was it. The Guru Maharaj didn't have any ambition to have lots of disciples or anything. In fact, he used to say, "Oh, when there are so many people, I become besides myself. I don't know what to do when there's so many big crowds." He said, "I am not an ambitious man. I'm a back-pushing man, like, you know, pushing others forward from the back. And that's my nature." And he said, "Oh, and you may say Sridhar Maharaj is very cruel, but I have to say to you, you have to go and live somewhere else. You can't live with me." He would say, "And I can help you as much as I can help you, and I will try to help you as much as I can help you." So then when, you know, like a kind of quantity of us wanted his connection, he was not enthusiastic for that. Then his, you know, protest to Srila Govinda Maharaj was, "I am at the fag end of my life. How much longer I will live, I do not know. And after I am gone, who will help them? How much help I can give them, I do not know. But after I am gone, who will help them?" Govinda Maharaj said, "If you accept them, Maharaj, then I will take their charge when you are gone." And because of that, Gurudev then Srila Sridhar Maharaj began to accept Western disciples. Quite a lot of us. So, and all the time, Srila Govinda Maharaj was there. But Guru Maharaj wanted that he would take sannyas and become the acharya of the mission. And he doesn't want to do that. He's always saying, "You give someone else and I'll serve them. I'm more happy like that. You choose someone else, I'll serve them." Guru Maharaj saying, no. And then he's saying, oh, but give me some more time to prepare myself. Then finally Guru Maharaj said, okay, if you will not take the sannyas, then I'll tomorrow I'll leave the world. I'll give the deities to Puri Maharaj and I'll lock the gates and I'll leave the world. And Govinda Maharaj made some objection, but it was no good. And Guru Maharaj, and then he finally said, Maharaj, I am your goat. You can cut my tail or you can cut my throat, whatever you like. So then the next day, Gurudev took sannyas. That was Bahulastami, the day of the Advent, day of Radha Kund, and the day before Srila Sridhar Maharaj's Vyasa Puja, his appearance day, and Gurudev took sannyas. I was there then, but I was just a boy. I didn't even know really what was going on. I wasn't privy to all the things that were going on upstairs. And that morning, because the next day is Srila Sridhar Maharaj's Vyasa Puja, so that morning, when the morning of Gurudev's sannyas, Guru Maharaj sent me and my godbrother Purnananda Prabhu sent us to Calcutta to buy flowers at the flower market. So we went on the early train and come back with these big baskets of marigolds and, for the festival the next day. We got back, by the time we got back, Govinda Maharaj already taken sannyas. So I didn't see any of that. But what I did see was that he came. Guru Maharaj wanted to make some announcement in the afternoon. So he came out of his room, and there's the chair where Guru Maharaj would sit was outside there. And he took Srila Govinda Maharaj by the hand and made him sit in that chair. Placed him in the chair there. And then Srila Govinda Maharaj gave a very beautiful talk. And he said, normally Tridanda Sannyas means Kai Manovakya, means by words, deeds, and mind. All of these three make up the vow of the Tridanda. He said, but my Tridandi Sannyas is Guru Maharaj's deity, Guru Maharaj's mission, and Guru Maharaj's devotees. I will serve them. And he said, and I want you to consider that I am the garbage can of this temple. And if you have any rubbish, you can deposit it with me. It was very kind of a heart-wrenching talk, And this was more or less three years before Srila Sridhar Maharaj disappeared from the world. 1985. It was 1985. And it was deliberate. Srila Sridhar Maharaj was deliberate that not only deliberate, but without precedent. That previously the Guru would not make his disciple the Acharya of the mission while he's still living. But Guru Maharaj did that, and did that purposefully. So, because in Indian law, if something is established for 3 years, then it's irrevocable. So he deliberately made, 3 years before his passing, that Govinda Maharaj would be the Acharya. And also, deliberately, Govinda Maharaj was the only Indian disciple that he gave sannyas to. He gave sannyas to godbrothers, he gave sannyas to his godbrothers' disciples, and he gave sannyas to many Western devotees also, mainly disciples of Srila Prabhupada. But of his own disciples, Indian disciples, he only gave one, so that there could not be any disagreement about who was his successor. And that the law also says if someone is a guru, and when they pass away, if they have a sannyas disciple, they inherit their property and their title and everything. So that was the law. I presume it still is. I don't know, but that was the law in India at that time, and Guru Maharaj knew that very well. So he established that. All of those things he did purposefully. And there were disciples who wanted sannyas, but after Srila Govinda Maharaj took the chair of the Acharya, he gave sannyas to those devotees, God brothers. So there was then in the last year or so before Srila Maharaj's passing, then Guru Maharaj retired. He withdrew from speaking and giving darshan to Western devotees or to any of the devotees. He just stayed in his room. The devotees persuaded him to have air conditioning in his room. That was so difficult to get him to accept. He would say, they'll say, Sridhar Maharaj has air conditioning. And then we would say, no, Maharaj. They won't say that. They'll say, Sridhar Maharaj has air conditioning. That's very good. In his old age, that is very good. And so finally he accepted that air conditioning in the room up there. And then two devotees looked after him, his personal servants, Nimai Sundar and Gaur Krishna. And many times Guru Maharaj would just be calling, Dayal Nitai, Dayal Nitai, Dayal Nitai. And they would come to Guru Maharaj and saying, Maharaj, take your japamala. Because we saw before, if Guru Maharaj isn't speaking, or he's chanting on his japamala all the time. And if you see his japamala, they have it in the memorial hall there. The tulsi beads are like black, ebony black from the oil from his hands, Anyhow, so they would try to give the mala to him. Take your japamala, Guru Maharaj, you'll get some relief. And he would say, no, give the japamala to Govinda Maharaj. I do not want. My only hope now is the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu. And this was like that for maybe 1 year before his passing. And then, of course, he passed away, and we never even thought that would happen, but it happened, of course. And I wasn't there, but Guru Prasad, you were there, weren't you, on Guru Maharaj's passing, I remember. Anyway, it was a very difficult time for everyone, of course. Then, but Srila Gurudev was there, Srila Govinda Maharaj was there, and he gave much support to us. And but even then, actually, Srila Guru Maharaj when Gurudev took sannyas, then Srila Guru Maharaj told him, now your best friend will become your worst enemy. He said, so you bring Mahananda Prabhu from Malaysia. He was preaching in Malaysia. Bring him and make him your secretary. And he came there. Mahananda Prabhu is now Madhusudana Maharaj. And I saw a letter to him from Guru Maharaj, and in that letter he said, I consider you are following perfectly in the line of my Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And so he became Gurudev's secretary there. And there was, some things. Some of my friends from there who didn't, they say that, right? It says that in the Bible about Jesus. They say, that the prophet is never accepted in his home village, or something like that. It said there, So some of his god brothers, and who were my close friends, they didn't accept. Govinda Maharaj. No, he is our cousin, or our relative. We don't. Maybe Guru Maharaj wanted, he's too much attached to him, or something like that. They would say, like this one devotee who I was very close with. He called me up, telling me so many things, like about Govinda Maharaj. Bad, he's this, he's that, he's everything. So then I just went to Govinda Maharaj and I said to him, Maharaj, such and such Prabhu has told me that you are this, you are that, you are doing this, you are doing that, and all these things. And Gurudev, he said to me, Prabhu, I was a very naughty boy, but Guru Maharaj made me a good boy. And I'm an old man now, then if you want to see how I live, just come and live with me. You can come and live with me. I wasn't married or anything then, and I just said, oh no, Maharaj, it's okay. And now I think, why didn't I do that? He invited me to come and live with him. Why didn't I do it? But anyway, it didn't happen. But I thought, okay, let's just put all the cards on the table, And although I consider him as my guru, he's my godbrother also, so then there's no offense to ask if there's some, some concern about anything. So then I can say, we had 6 years association with Srila Sridhar Maharaj, but we had over maybe 25 years association with Srila Govinda Maharaj. That's more than anyone in our Sampradaya of recent times. Disciples of Saraswati Thakur, they didn't have that long with him. The disciples of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj didn't have that long with him. And certainly the Western disciples of Srila Sridhar Maharaj didn't have that long with him. But we had over nearly 25 years association with Srila Govinda Maharaj. And we learned so many things from him. And then he began his world tours. And he did 23 world tours, and in those 23 world tours, he came to this temple 24 times. That's not every single time, but sometimes he would come on the way, and then on the way back as well, for his travel around the world. So he spent so much time here, and he would say, "This is my Guru Maharaj's temple." Because it was established in the time of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Srila Sridhar Maharaj had the Radha Shyam Sundar installed in his lifetime also. So he was considered, this is my Guru Maharaj's mott. Other places in the world, yes, this is my center in the service of Guru Maharaj and so on. But London, this is Guru Maharaj's mott. One day, one of my god sisters said to me, "Oh, I know this Bharatnatyam dance troupe. They can do this Krishna Lila dance, all this. Well, we can bring them to show to Govinda Maharaj when he comes to London." And I said, no, he would never forgive me if I did that. And she said, "Oh, what do you mean? I saw in Mexico they had mariachi band, and then in Russia they had this and that." And I said, yeah, those things he allowed in his mott, but he considers this to be his Guru Maharaj's mott. So our rule of thumb, if Sridhar Maharaj would allow it, we allow it. If he wouldn't, we don't allow it. And even, Sri Lanka, she used to do the children's plays. Some little girl dressed up as Krishna and, lifting Govardhan Hill or whatever it was. And Gurudev would come and watch those, but he would always say to us, only because it's the children I'm coming to watch that. If some adult is playing Krishna, I won't go and see that. I don't want to see that. This was very merciful. He was here walking up through Queen's Market and coming to our houses for breakfast and going for a trip here and there with Mr. Vyas. Or the one day, and I came here in the afternoon, and he said, "Oh, do you have your car with you, Prabhu?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Okay, let's go." And we just jumped in the car and I drove him. He said, "Show me someplace. Just show me someplace." Okay. So I drove around and I went to the Tower Bridge. I drove over Tower Bridge. He liked that. And I'm showing, there's the, what's it called? The Tower of London. Yeah. So I'm telling him about the Tower of London, Mary Queen of Scots, she was beheaded there and all these things. And he had his servant. His name was Bimalananda. He was the first Koka, first servant. He's sitting in the back. Doesn't speak much English. So Gurudev's, what I'm telling him, he's telling him in Bengali, you know. And he's like wide-eyed. And Gurudev's saying, Rajmata ho gya. He's like, oh, yeah, bye-bye. So I just drove him around and, you know, we had some little outing here and there. And sometimes we had, we organized to take him somewhere to see something, but he wasn't really that interested. In fact, on one of his world tours, Dibishari, she met and became friends with Uri Geller. You know, Uri Geller's like the psychic spoon bender. Jai. And she told him about Gurudev, that he's coming, you know, like, and all the disciples will be, and he lives in, he's got a big, like, stately home in the country, right? He's rich. Spoon bending pays money, I guess. So, and he said, oh, I'll host him here. You can bring him here. We'll have a big festival here. So we were all a bit excited about that, you know. I thought, oh, yeah, that's good. Because this is like the tiny temple, right? When Gurudev was here, you couldn't move, isn't it? You remember. You couldn't move. There were people waiting outside to come in. We'd have to ask people, you've been sitting for an hour, can you let someone else come and sit? You know, it was really, and it is still very small temple. But anyway, I asked Gurudev, this man, Guru Uri Geller, he's offering to host you at his stately home, and all the devotees can come there, and we have the festival there. And Gurudev said, I want to go to my Guru Maharaj's mott. I don't want to go any stately home or anything. Okay. So we did hire, just down the road, there was the Guru Narayan Hall, Mission Hall, yeah. So they rented out the room there, and sometimes we'd go there and have kirtan or something there, because there wasn't enough room here. But Gurudev was very wonderful. His association was very wonderful. He had very wonderful sense of humor. And we would forget sometimes that he was an old man in his 80s, because his nature was like a young boy and very playful. And, you know, then sometimes we would forget that. But we saw so many things in his nature. And he told us, when on the first tour, this was before we had this, we had that rented house in Manor Park. And when he came there, he said, before I came, I'm thinking, what will I say to the devotees? They are already enlightened with Krishna consciousness from the preaching of Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Then what will I tell them? Then he said, then I'm thinking, then, so many devotees chanting Hare Krishna for so many years, but no one getting the result. No one getting Krishna Prema from that chanting. Why? There can only be two reasons. One, that the whole thing is just made up or something, you know, like imagination. And he said, and if that were the case, I would have left it a long time ago. Because maybe I can't do any good for you, but at least I won't do anything bad for you. But we know the scripture and the saints, and they've proven that it's real. So the only other thing is we must be doing something wrong. So then I thought about this, and I thought, yes, Mahaprabhu's teaching us that if you want to chant the name of Krishna properly, purely, then you must practice humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others, and not expect any respect or honor for yourself. Trinadapi sunichena tororiva suhishnona amani namadadena kirtaniya shadahari. And he said, so now is the time that the devotees must hear this. That if you're not getting the result, it's because you're not humble, you're not tolerant, you're not giving proper honor and respect to others, and expecting honor and respect for yourself. Then you're disqualified. This is those who can practice that. That is the qualification for getting Shuddhanam, or real name of Krishna. Not Namaparad and not Namabas, but real Shuddhanam. And Shuddhanam means Krishna Prema comes in its wake. So then he said, I decided this will be what I speak about. Can you check if they got Pushpanjali?
Yeah, they're making it
okay,
right
good. Then that's what he taught us when he came here. That's what he spoke about. From the first tour till the last tour, from his first day to his last day, this is what he spoke about. And not only what he spoke about, he was the very embodiment of that. The very embodiment. There was, in 2000, there was like a changeover when the person who in charge here kind of, how would you say, politely, stepped away from that, wanted to do something else. And Srila Gurudev asked me to take charge here that time. Then, but then in that very time, he's talking about that devotee and giving so much honor and praise to him, so much, that it actually offended me a little bit. So he was giving so much honor to him. And we were up in the room with Gurudev. It was me and Bhakti Lalita and Gurudev. And he said, what did you think about what I said? And I said, oh, Maharaj, maybe it's a little too much. He said, why do you say that? I said, well, because he caused so much trouble, I think you should have given chastisement, not so much honor and praise to him. And he said, everything I said is true. And I said, yes, Maharaj, but maybe a bit over the top, you know? I said, humbly, I say, and then he said to Bhakti Lalita, what do you think? And she said, yeah, maybe a bit much, Maharaj. Also, she said, maybe a little bit too much. And then he said, okay, but I do not know any other way. I only know how to give honor to the Vaishnava. And this was what Guru Maharaj taught me. I don't know any other way. And in my life experience, I have found that nothing else works. We said, okay, Maharaj, all right. Then in a few days, like some miraculous things happened. And everything turned around, it was very auspicious. And I came to Gurudev, oh, Gurudev, you were right and I was wrong. And he said, yes, Prabhu, this is what Guru Maharaj taught us. And I cannot do any other way, because I can only do what Guru Maharaj taught me. That's all I can do. So I think, that if there is like an Akashic encyclopedia of spirituality floating around somewhere, then if you look up that verse, Trinadapi Sunichena, of Mahaprabhu Shikastakam, there must be a picture of Govinda Maharaj next to that verse as the personification of that. He really was the personification of that. And his qualities were so wonderful that just one person, he could manage the whole worldwide mission. Just one person. Since his disappearance, there's been catastrophe in our mission, actually, all over the world. So much fighting, so much unhappy things. But he could manage everything. And everyone knew, whatever you say, if he says no, then it's no. Whatever he said, and it was always perfect, whatever he taught us, whatever he said, whatever way he wished to express it, he would say. And we would accept that. His knowledge was just like divinely inspired. He had, 45 years of being Srila Guru Maharaj's own servant, personal servant, and he learnt everything from Guru Maharaj. Everything. And once I said to him, oh, Guru Maharaj gave everything to you, Maharaj. I said, this is such a blessing. And he said, yes, but it is also a curse. So, you know, then, but we saw that. And all I can say is we won't see the like of such a devotee again in my life. I don't think so. I don't think that that's possible. But all that time, more than 20 years, surely we learned something from him. Surely we learned enough that we can continue, you know, in our spiritual life, following his direction. Someone said once to me, you know, then, oh, if the Guru says the rope is a snake, then it's a snake. And if the Guru says the snake is a rope, then it's a rope. And my reply was, my Gurudev taught me already to recognize the difference between a snake and a rope. He already taught me that. So, you know, we don't have pride, but we feel ourselves to be extremely blessed to have had the association that we had with him. And he was so giving to everybody. Many times he would come here against the advice of his doctors, isn't it? One time when he came here, his heart was so enlarged that we were fearful for his life. We had to bring special doctor and everything. And I said to him, Maharaj, why did you come? No one would have, you know, thought less of you for. And he said, oh, I want to die in the harness, in the saddle. I want to die in the saddle. I want to die doing Guru Maharaj's service. So if I die in Navadvip or if I die here, what's the difference? What difference does it make? And he says, and if I don't come, then what will I do? It's just boring, he would say. So, I want to come. I want to come and meet with the devotees. And really he had a special place in his heart for this little temple here. I remember one day upstairs he said to us, I was born when India was part of the British Empire. So by birth I'm British. He said, so if you can get a visa for me, then I'll stay with you in London for 6 months every year. We couldn't do it. But that was his thinking, like that. I was born when India was part of the British Empire. And one day when he came and Dayanidhi Prabhu was leading the kirtan, and a big kirtan, you can imagine. And Gurudev came in the car and everything. He came in, he saw Radha Shyam Sundar, made his obeisance, and then he went upstairs to his room. So I followed him up to the room, and Siddhanti Maharaj was with him also. Myself, Siddhanti Maharaj, and maybe Ranajit, I don't know. But anyway, we're in the room, and Gurudev was trying to speak to me. But the kirtan is so loud that I can't hear him, he can't hear me. Then Siddhanti Maharaj got up to go and close the door. And Gurudev said, no, Maharaj, don't do that. I've just come from Navadvip, where they're making this kirtan, and I've come like 3,000 miles or whatever it is, and the same kirtan going on here in London. I came for this. I came to hear this kirtan. What a blessing. What can we say? So merciful, Gurudev, so merciful. And so funny. I remember when there was one man who used to come here. He was an Indian guy, but he was a pagal. And he used to kick the devotees in the arti. When we were having arti, he'd stand behind the devotee and kick them in the back. And you know, he caused some upset with the devotees. And then he came to Gurudev and he said, will you give me initiation? And Gurudev said, yes, I'll give you initiation. And gave him Harinam, and then he said, and now you have to give Guru Dakshin. You know what is Guru Dakshin? He said, yes, Maharaj, I know. And he said, so your Guru Dakshin is that you never come to any of our temples ever again. And he said, yes, Maharaj, and he never came again. What do you mean? What does it mean? It means that. Gurudev didn't want him here kicking the devotees. So I asked him, please don't come here again. Okay. And yes, okay. He stayed away. As far as we know, he's still chanting his japa that Gurudev gave him in separation.
Nicely, is it?
Yeah. Nicely. Yes.
After giving diksha.
Yeah. He is so merciful, Gurudev was so merciful. But sometimes he would chastise us too. You know, then he would say, oh, because Gurudev never asked, what are the 4 regulative principles and, you know, all these things. He didn't ask that. But he would say to us, if you are recommending this person for initiation, then I expect that you have informed them about all these things already. If they don't know about that, how can I give initiation? So I'm relying on you to make sure they know these things beforehand. It's not that anyone's exempted from that. And Gurudev would say that, you know, that everything is like, that you have to know the ABC, and that's part of the ABC. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit sex. Everyone should know that. And Gurudev said, not only those 4, but 5th one is jatarupam, hoarding money. That is also the place of Kali. Then that is also, devotees should not hoard money. Srila Prabhupada used to say, in Los Angeles, the newspaper, they had a picture of that Swami Satchidananda. He was kind of big in the 70s. He had an ashram in California. And there was a photograph of him. Someone's offering him like a suitcase full of money. And he's like, get thee behind me, Satan, you know, like this. And when they showed that to Prabhupada, and he said, you can take a photograph of me, same thing. And I'm saying, yes, good. He said, because if you give me $1,000 in the morning, by the evening I will have spent it on Krishna's service. Everything is for Krishna's service. So then, this we understand from Guru Maharaj, from Gurudev, from Prabhupada. Everything can be utilized in Krishna's service. It is not ours to accept or reject, but it is ours to utilize in Krishna's service if it comes to us. We should try for that. So, and that was Srila Gurudev's glory, that he wants to give everything for Guru Maharaj's service, everything, every last breath. He was, one time Srila Sridhar Maharaj was very ill. They thought now he will die, for sure. That the doctor came, and the doctor said no medicine will work in him, and then we can't find any pulse in him. So now he will leave the world, for sure. So Srila Govinda Maharaj said, I was in Calcutta at the time, and so Haricharan Prabhu called me in Calcutta, Guru Maharaj fading fast, they can't find any pulse or anything, you know, please, you have to come, he's going to pass away. And he said to Haricharan Prabhu, okay, ring me again in an hour, I'm coming. So Gurudev said, I went and I was taking a shower, and then when I'm in the shower, I started crying. And then I began praying to Lord Shiva. Oh, you say that I am your son, and you are the master of medicine. So please give me some medicine for my Guru Maharaj. And he said, then while I'm from the sky, voice came and told the name of one medicine, homeopathic medicine. And I thought, maybe I'm just imagining it. It's the sound of the shower. I'm just imagining it, you know. Then I said, if you if that was real, please say again. And he said, and then very clearly the name of that medicine again came. And I finished my shower, and then Harichan Prabhu, he rang, and Gurudev told him, give this medicine. Told him what dosage, everything. Give this medicine, I'm coming. He said, I got on the last train to Navadvip. When I reached Navadvip, said, Guru Maharaj sitting in his chair taking prasadam. Like at midnight, he's sitting taking prasadam. And Gurudev came and said, what, Maharaj, what happened? I heard you were fading, no pulse, anything. And he said, yes. But Harichan Prabhu said, Govinda Maharaj is told to give this medicine. I took that medicine, now you can see. So then after that, I became Guru Maharaj's doctor. And previously Guru Maharaj's doctor was the head of the Navadvip medical board. He was like the top doctor. And then afterwards, when he would come to Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj would just say, I will not take your medicine. Only if Govinda Maharaj agrees, otherwise I'll not take your medicine. And then that doctor became angry, and he went away. Not necessary to call me again. Then Govinda Maharaj heard, he came there, and he said, I went to the doctor's house. And as I'm coming up, the doctor says, oh, Govinda Maharaj, not necessary to come here. Not necessary. And Gurudev said, yes, doctor, it is necessary, because you are the best doctor in the whole of Nadia. But you have already told that your medicine will not work on Guru Maharaj, isn't it? He said, yes, that's right. He said, so if you will tell me what is your diagnosis and what is your prescription, and from that I can understand what the homeopathic equivalent is that I can give him. And that happened. He flattered, or not flattered, but charmed the doctor, so the doctor would still come and see Guru Maharaj. They had this kind of arrangement. So many, every year before Gaura Purnima, Gurudev would go for collecting rice and potatoes in the local villages nearby. So one year he's going there, and he has like a pull trolley he's got with him, and he's going, in each village there's like someone who's the head guy in the village, right? So he would go and see him first. So he's going in this particular village. Everyone knows this man is like a massive miser. He won't give anything to anyone. So as Govinda Maharaj is going, they got the boys are saying to him, laughing at him, the teenage boys, hey, where are you going? And he said, oh, I'm going to see, such and such. He said, you won't get anything from him, you know that. You won't give anything to anyone. And Govinda Maharaj smiled and said, we will see, we will see. And he went there. Then maybe 1 hour later, he comes out, his trolley's loaded up to the top, like almost everything's falling. He's got so much. And then he took the rice, potatoes, everything, whatever it was. And then those boys, they went to that man and they said, what happened? You never give anything to anyone. Like, what happened? And he said, he gave some supernatural joy to my heart. And I would have given him anything and everything, more if he'd have asked me. Some kind of supernatural joy he gave to me. This was Govinda Maharaj. And really, his nature was very divine.
One day he came to our house for breakfast, and one of the ladies in the street was completely mental, and he said, your minister told me I'll be all right. And she's all right from that day, and she's laughing.
There you are.
Wake up 6 o'clock, sweep the whole road. And I've seen that with my own eyes.
Yeah, many miraculous things happened with him. When he was in Brazil, at Trivikram Maharaj's ashram in Brazil, there met some big festival, many devotees came there. And then there were 2 brothers there, young boys, like 5, 6 years old. And one of the boys came in front of Govinda Maharaj and told, oh, my brother, he's swimming in the pond. but he won't come up. And he explained everything, and they understood. Oh, this boy is dead. He's been under the water for 10 minutes. It's not possible that he could be alive. And they took him out of the pond, everything, then they're doing some, trying to revive him. But how can they revive him? He's been drowned in there for 10 minutes. Then Srila Govinda Maharaj said, I prayed to Guru Maharaj. Oh, you send me here and all these devotees have come here. And how can this happen here? And he said, and then that boy woke up. And that boy, and no brain damage, nothing. Like when you have a lack of oxygen for so long, some brain damage or something may happen. Nothing. And that boy is like Trivikram Maharaj's best brahmachari now, living there. Now he's grown up man, giving so much assistance to him. One time when Gurudev was bathing in the Ganges, and he's wearing Guru Maharaj's ring, one of the rings that Guru Maharaj had, and it fell off in the water. It's lost, right? It's lost. It's gone. And then Gurudev said, I prayed to Mother Ganges, please do not take my Guru Maharaj's ring. He said, then I put my hand in the water and the ring came into my hand. It is impossible, but it is happening. Srila Gurudev was very miraculous. And even once when I was here upstairs, I said something, trying to be clever. I said something to Gurudev, but actually it was something quite offensive when I reflected on it later on. But Gurudev just ignored what I said, right? Something I said about Srila Sridhar Maharaj. I didn't mean it to be offensive, but it was offensive. And he ignored me. And the second time I said it, because I thought, maybe he didn't hear me. I said it a second time and he didn't say anything. Then the third time I said it, and he said, not to say that about my Guru Maharaj. Like really heavy. And and then I looked around and I noticed no one else had witnessed that. He said that to me, but nobody else saw it, nobody else heard it. Everyone was just as if it never happened. As it was really shouted at me, heavily. Then I thought, he's so mystical that he's sparing my embarrassment in front of all the devotees.
Also we got the Lord Shiva in our Navadvip mud.
Yes. Gangadhara, Sadashiva, Gangadhara. So, anyway, time is moving on. So we should do Guru Puja, Pushpanjali. Don't suppose Dayanidhi Prabhu is here, right? No, okay. Hare Krishna. Jai Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Gurudev Tirubha Maha Mahotsav ki jai. Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Brinda ki jai. Shri Harinama Sankirtan ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi.
गुरु गौरंग धर्मिका गिरधारी जीव की जय नित्य लीला कृष्ण विष्णुवास श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत श्री विशाल प्रभुपाद की जय सपार्षद